The Palestinian militant group Hamas has fired a barrage of long-range rockets from Gaza at Israel for the first time since January. The Israeli military said at least 8 rockets were fired from the southern Gaza city of Rafah, where Israeli forces recently launched an incursion. The army intercepted a number of projectiles. Israel's war against Hamas is now in its 8th month following the October 7th terror attacks.
Air raid sirens rang out in Tel Aviv, sending people running down into bomb shelters until the danger passed. The salvo of rockets fired from Gaza left debris outside of a school and damaged a house in Herzliya to the north of Tel Aviv. No casualties were reported in the attack, but residents here say they're lucky to be alive. Mother was sitting in the living room, and the caregiver went to another room to get a drink. Suddenly, there was a bang in the caregiver's room, and she fell from the blast. The whole room was damaged. We took the caregiver to the hospital to take a series of tests, and Mother miraculously survived. A Hamas spokesperson said the barrage was a response to high civilian deaths at the hands of Israel's military. In Rafah, civil defense workers pulled at least 6 bodies out of the rubble of a house destroyed in an Israeli airstrike, despite an order from the International Court of Justice to stop its offensive in the southern Gaza city. Israel says it will continue until it destroys Hamas battalions there. Many of the displaced Palestinians who ended up here say they refuse to relocate again. I have made the decision to stay here. I have my own tent. I've been told to make my own oven and start a business baking bread. We will never leave. We started our own oven business, and God willing, we will resist. Amid the violence and suffering in the Gaza Strip, living another day and baking bread is an act of defiance.
And vital humanitarian aid has begun entering the Gaza Strip via the Kerem Shalom crossing, a few kilometers from Rafah. The assistance is from Egypt, but can't cross directly from there due to Cairo's refusal to coordinate aid through the Rafah crossing until control of the Gazan side is handed back to Palestinians. Kerem Shalom connects the Gaza Strip directly with Israel. The change comes after a deal between the Egyptian and US presidents. Egyptian media say a total of 208 trucks are expected to cross into Gaza today, but UN agencies say ongoing fighting in southern Gaza usually makes it too dangerous to retrieve the aid. Deep Malamala is the chief humanitarian officer of the aid organization CARE. I asked her about the challenges the charity faces in Gaza and the 200 trucks that were allowed to enter today.
Absolutely. The ongoing military offensive in and around Rafah since 6th of May, compounded by cutting off and blocking what was the lifeline of delivering humanitarian aid, the Rafah crossing. This combination has severely impacted and affected our ability as aid agencies to distribute life-saving assistance to people who are on the brink. Today, it's a welcome sign. It is encouraging that trucks are starting to enter Kerem Shalom. 200 were manifested to enter today. As far as we know, only 126 have entered today because it's up until 5 p.m. that the trucks can enter. And the process, the bureaucracy, loading, unloading, it takes a whole lot of time. So 126 have come, and for the remaining, we are not yet sure will they come tomorrow or have they been sent back. But as you said, this is only the trucks entering. The ability to uplift the cargo on the Palestinian side is hugely restricted, and our ability to distribute aid is also limited by the continuous bombardment and several impediments that we have.
Yeah, you mentioned that. There's this ongoing fighting, especially in southern Gaza. I should imagine that it's very difficult for your co-workers as well to provide aid. What are you hearing from the ground there?
what we are hearing is since in the last 6 or 7 months, every single day, I thought it cannot get worse. And I have been wrong every single day. So at this point, let me start by saying the aid workers themselves are affected. So, aid workers, the distributors, they are themselves trying to save themselves, their families moving around, continuously being displaced. And then there's total chaos in many places. There have been situations where aid supplies have been looted, where aid workers have been attacked, killed. The number of aid workers killed in this crisis is not something that we have seen before. And then there is a lot of rubble. The physical land access is also very, very restricted. And then the bombardment, the military offensive, the attacks, that also impedes. So it is quite chaotic at the moment, but the aid workers are doing their best. And I'm certain that much more can be done if there is assurance of protecting aid workers and letting more trucks in. We are very encouraged by 200 trucks being allowed in. However, before October, there were 500 trucks coming in every single day, 500. And in all these 6-7 months, the needs have only escalated. So much more is needed. And aid workers need to be alive to deliver aid for a start. Physical access to reach the affected communities also needs to be improvised in order for us to be able to save lives.
Right. So 200 trucks is a start. 500 was better. And a lot of people also say 600 trucks a day. That's what it takes. Let's hope we get there. Dr. Deepmala Mala, Chief Humanitarian Officer at CARE. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.